Hello and welcome. I'm Kate. I'm also known as the Daily Tarot Girl, and welcome to my tarot card meanings deep dive into the Page of Wands. Now, before we dive into today's video, I want to let you know that I've created a tarot court card meaning cheat sheet for you. I'm going to put the link below where you can grab your own copy. All right, so let's talk about the Page of Wands. So this page is energetic. He's inspired. He's learning how to cultivate and focus his energy and how to discover his life's work and his life's purpose. So sit back, relax, and let me bring this card to life for you. I'm going to be speaking of the Page of Wands as if he is a real person. We're going to dive into his secrets. I'm going to talk about the symbols on this card. I'm going to tell you what this card means when it shows up in one of your readings and what it means when it shows up reversed. All right, so one important thing to remember is that he is the Page of Wands, and the wands corresponds with the element of fire. So think about how fire behaves. Fire can be warm and comforting. It can be exciting. It can illuminate. It can also be terrifying. It can be destructive. But fire also transforms. So I associate the suit of Wands with passion, with energy, action, and transformation. So some key words to keep in mind with this card, some key personality traits of the Page of Wands, is that he is curious. He's learning, because he's a page, so all the pages are, kind of like students. They're learning, they're figuring things out. He's energetic, excited, inspired, passionate. He's really enthusiastic about the things that he's enthusiastic about. He's enthusiastic and he wants to do. He wants to get out there in the world and do things. This is how he learns, by doing. He's transformation obsessed. Think about like a young person who has just discovered self-help books and they're reading all the classic self-help books. So that's kind of like this Page of Wands. He's obsessed with this idea of transformation and transforming himself. And he's very focused on discovering his life's purpose. Now, some symbols to pay attention to. Hello, Merlina. Merlina has come and she's blessed us with her presence. I asked her if she wanted to be in the video and she said no. So some symbols to pay attention to on this card. Oh, and I should mention that wherever the card is going to be, I'm not sure what side I'm going to put it on, but the card that you see on your screen, maybe this side, the card that you see on your screen is from the Universal Waite Tarot. So some symbols to pay attention to on this card. Notice the pyramids. Now the pyramids also appeared, if you watched my other video on the Knight of Wands, there's pyramids in that card as well. And I talked about how the pyramids were these like energy directors. So pyramids can, if you think of the shape of the pyramid, they can take energy from above and disperse it, or they can suck up energy from below and channel it and direct it upward. So those pyramids are kind of energy directors. There's a red feather in the Page of Wands cap, and that's a symbol of achievement. Just think of that phrase, like a feather in your cap. So it's that symbol of achievement. And I do think that the Page of Wands is very focused on achieving things. I wouldn't say that he's like necessarily driven in the same way that like some of the like Knight of Wands or the Knight of Swords are very driven cards. The Page of Wands, he's not so much driven, he's more like just very curious and alive, and he wants to follow that energy wherever it takes him. You'll also notice he's holding a staff. Now that staff can be a symbol of like a magic wand, which is also an energy direction tool. And on that staff, we see some green leaves. So some like fresh growth. So this is like a symbol of new growth and newness. And he's in the desert and he looks like he's overdressed. I just can't get over how he's got all these layers on, he's got these boots on, he's got this hat on, but he's in the desert and it looks kind of hot. It looks hot and sunny and he's wearing these goofy boots and this funny hat, and it just makes me think that he's, you know, he's at Burning Man or something. Like he's a festival goer. That's kind of how I think of this this page. So this page is very talented. He has numerous talents. He gets really excited about things. So when he's into something, he's really passionate, he's curious, he's excited. And once he figures out how to direct his energy into something, like how to best use his energy, he really is a powerhouse. There's so much that he can do and achieve when he's able to really direct his energy. He's an outside the box thinker. He's creative, he's dynamic, he's unafraid of a challenge. He loves challenge, he loves adventure, and he doesn't really have a comfort zone. So something that that might be really risky or challenging for someone else just feels really adventurous and exciting to the Page of Wands. He's not really shy. And his biggest talent, I would say, is that he can transform things when he puts his energy and attention on them. So he has this real power to transform things. So his ultimate task in the world, his big challenge in life, is to really find his life's purpose. So living his life's purpose is really how he connects with spirit. This is kind of finding his right work in the world brings him closer to God. This is what helps him feel spiritually alive and connected, is really tapping into what he's meant to be doing. And I can really relate to this page in this way. I remember especially when I was younger, when I was a teenager and in my early 20s, I was obsessed with this idea of figuring out what I was meant to do in the world, work-wise. And I was just so obsessed with this. And I kept thinking that I had to get this figured out and the rest of my life would all fall into place once I got this one thing figured out. It was so important to me. And I just assumed that this is how everyone thought, that everyone was obsessed with this. But then as I got older and met more people and had conversations and moved through life, I realized that not everyone is obsessed with finding their life's purpose. That isn't something that everyone is really into. So that's something to keep in mind with this page, is that he's purpose driven. He's obsessed with discovering his life's purpose and finding his life path. So part of his task, part of his challenge is to learn how to really build, cultivate, and focus and best use his energy. His energy is his most valuable tool, his most valuable asset. And to learn how to discover, to really use that energy for transformation and to transform not only himself, but other things that he comes into contact with during his life. And he isn't going to discover his life path or his life's purpose by sitting around and reading books. He has to actually get out in the world and take action. He actually has to do things in order to discover things about himself. So once he finds his gifts, once he starts to uncover some of his abilities and his talents, and once he figures out, what his yearnings are for, and begins to weave these things into a career, he can really offer his unique brilliance to his community. So the Page of Wands has so much to offer, but because he's young, he's discovering that. He's figuring things out. So he hasn't achieved a level of mastery or self-knowledge yet, but he's well on his way to doing that. So let's talk about what this page is like in day-to-day life. Like if you were to run into this page, what would he be like? So let's say you're at a party and the Page of Wands walks into the room. He has this amazing ability to instantly transform the energy of a party just by being present, just by showing up. So you're sitting there, the Page of Wands comes in the room, and it's like, oh, now the party's really started. The Page of Wands is here. Instantly there is this shift. There's this like crackling in the air, and suddenly things feel more alive and bubbly and exciting when he arrives. So he is fun, he's bright, he's chatty, he's entertaining, he knows how to make people laugh, and he can turn any like dull, boring get-together into an instant giggle fest. When it comes to work and career, if he feels like he is challenged, or if he's given some problem to fix or something to transform, this is where he will really thrive. He is all in. So if you have a workplace and you bring in a Page of Wands character, put him to work fixing something. You know, if you have a department in your office that is a disaster, or there's some project that has gone awry, put the Page of Wands in there. He loves to get in there and get things running smoothly and fix things. He loves a challenge. However, if he's in like a really boring, repetitive job where it's not very challenging, there's not a lot of skill involved, this is where he will kind of turn sour, and some of his more unlikable traits will start to come out. And we'll get to that. We'll get to his dark side in a moment. But he needs to have a few things on the go. I like to say that the Page of Wands is a real Renaissance man, because he likes to, he has so much energy, he has so many different talents. Like, why he's not just good at one thing, he's good at many things, and he's really good at many things. And he has a lot of interests and hobbies. And so he likes to kind of have his fingers in all different pots. Like he likes to have a few things on the go. So when it comes to work and career, any kind of job that allows him to kind of do a bunch of different things will really appeal to him. All right, so I'm gonna switch my note sheet here. So when it comes to love, relationships, and romance, the Page of Wands is a really fun and exciting guy to date. Okay. So he's fun to date, he's really exciting, he's hilarious, he's a lot of fun, but he's not really ready for anything serious. He's so young and inexperienced. He's really more interested in travel, having adventures, finding the right career, and having a good time. So he's not relationship focused. He's not bad at relationships, he's just not ready for anything super serious or any type of commitment. So if he meets a partner who's also in that same place as him, then it can be quite harmonious. But he's not into like big commitments at this point in his life. When it comes to money and finances, I feel like I've been really hard on some of the other court cards, but I'm not going to be hard on the Page of Wands. He's fine when it comes to managing his money. He's not bad. He prefers to spend money on experiences rather than things. And he doesn't really care about things like status all that much, but this is the ironic thing. If he finds what he loves and he does that for a career, if he really follows his heart and his passion, he's so talented, and he will like naturally attain, typically he will, over time as he gets older, he will naturally just attain status and adoration of others, but without trying. Like, that's not interesting to him. He isn't trying to attain status or impress people at all. He really just wants to follow his passion. So when it comes to money, he's still learning how to manage his energy, and we can think that money is energy, and so he might make a few mistakes here and there, but it's not a big deal overall. So some things that this page thrives on. So the Page of Wands, and I mentioned earlier, he's a bit of a Renaissance man. So he loves channeling his energy into like all sort of different things, like multiple projects, multiple things, multiple projects. He loves to do all different stuff. He loves to be challenged, and if something feels like an adventure, or if he has to like figure things out by trial and error and making guesses, that really makes him come alive. He loves to travel. He loves new places, new experiences. These are all things that help him learn more about himself. Some things that he can't stand. He can't stand this feeling of not having a purpose. So if he feels like he isn't going anywhere, if he doesn't know what his purpose is, what he's supposed to be doing, or if he's in a job where it's unclear what his role is or what his purpose is, that's going to be really frustrating for him. Or if he's in a work situation where he can't use his creativity or special talents, then again, he's going to be really frustrated by that. Or if he's stuck in a role, whether at work or in a relationship, that has no room for growth, he's really going to flounder, because the Page of Wands is in growth mode. He's learning, he's expanding, he's growing. So if he's in a relationship or a job that just doesn't give him that space to learn and grow, then he's not going to be happy. He's a dynamic character. He doesn't want to be tied to just one thing. And one thing that he absolutely cannot stand is the idea of like a really boring, predictable life where everything is laid out and planned out for him and there's nothing new to be discovered. That is his worst nightmare. So let's talk about his dark side. Now, the Page of Wands doesn't really have a big dark side, and this is a segment that I do in all my videos on the court cards. And people have asked me, like, is the dark side what this card means when it's reversed? And sometimes it can, but in this case, I'm going to talk about what it means when this card is reversed in a moment. But his dark side is really just... I think when we're talking about the court cards as people, it just helps to have an idea of what their negative traits might be. So this is just to kind of flesh out this card and kind of humanize the Page of Wands. So his dark side is that he has a lot of energy, and that energy needs to flow. But if that flow is blocked or stunted, he can turn into a real pain in the ass, and he can actually become destructive. So if he can't transform things with his energy, he will destroy things with his energy. And not necessarily in a huge, terrifying way. Remember, he is only the Page of Wands, so his power is somewhat limited. So he's not a hugely destructive character, but think like a teenager who starts vandalizing things and becomes kind of mischievous. It's kind of that sort of energy. If he mismanages his energy by taking on too many projects, by spreading himself too thin, or by putting his energy into projects and things that are not the right fit for him, things can go south, and he can be really prone to getting burnt out and throwing childish tantrums, like a little kid who's just been playing too hard and they get exhausted and they become, really cranky. Okay, so what does this card mean? When you're doing a reading for yourself or someone else and the Page of Wands comes up, what does this card mean? So there's a few different directions we can go with this card. It might mean that your life's purpose and really discovering your life's purpose and getting a better sense of it is really important right now. That this is kind of a front and center concern for you. And so you need to take the time and give yourself that space to really figure things out and learn about yourself. It could also be an indication that you need to really learn how to build up and maintain and better direct your energy. And it can also be a message. So when the Page of Wands shows up in a reading, it can be a message to get out there and take action. So don't just sit on your laurels and wait for something to happen, but actually get out there and do something. You're not going to figure things out just by sitting at home. So if this card is reversed, it could mean that you're kind of confused about your life's purpose, or you feel kind of blocked in some way and you can't quite figure it out. You don't have clarity on what your purpose is and what you're supposed to be doing. It could also mean that you are mismanaging your energy and you just need to get a little bit better about preserving your energy and putting it towards the right kinds of things. It could also mean that you need to get out there and take action and have experiences, and you're not doing that. You're maybe just sitting at home, not getting out there in the world. So that, again, a reversed Page of Wands might be an indication that you need to kind of get out there, get out there and have experiences. So some ways to really embody the Page of Wands is to take some time to explore yourself. So what lights you up? What excites you? What energizes you? What are you curious about? What kinds of things do you want to put your energy into? Contemplating these questions will help you get clear on what your career path might be or what your life's purpose is. Give yourself the time and space to explore how you relate to energy. How do you use your own energy? What builds up your energy? What drains your energy? Taking the time to learn about yourself in that way. And another way to embody this card is to learn by doing. And for some reason in my notes I wrote, don't just stand there, bust a move. So yeah, like, get out there and do things. This is how you're going to learn. We don't just learn by going inward or reading books. We have to get out there and take action. Clarity sometimes comes from getting out there and doing things. Okay, so I've got a few journaling questions for you because I find journaling on the cards is a really great way to get to know the cards and to really cement your understanding of this card. So I really encourage you to get a journal and a pen and jot these questions down. And I'm also going to post these questions below this video in the little info section below the video. So the first question is, what aspects of this page do you relate to? Where are you right now on your path to discovering your life's purpose? Is this something you're really interested in? Or maybe you have no interest in this at all. Do you have it all figured out, or are you still exploring this? How do you want to share your energy with the world? Because this is really what the Page of Wands is trying to figure out. How is he going to share his energy, his gifts, and everything with the world? So how do you want to share your energy with the world? What is your relationship to energy? What drains your energy? What feeds your energy? And how can you best direct your energy at this time? And in the comments below, I want you to tell me, how are you like this page? What aspect of him do you most relate to? So I just want to close this video by saying thank you so much for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe and check out my website, dailytarotgirl.com. I'll put a link below this video. I have all kinds of fun tarot learning resources for you to check out. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.